So you adopted TypeScript to bring some order to your JavaScript. But now you're living in a special kind of hell. You've got complicated types, and you've got any sprinkled all over your codebase, and it is a nightmare to maintain. You're even starting to wonder if it was all a big mistake. What if I told you there are just 3 pillars of TypeScript that can turn that chaos into clean, maintainable, and dare I say, an enjoyable codebase? In this video, we'll go over these, and we can finally turn TypeScript into your allies, not your enemy. All right, let's start with the big one. Unshakable, unapologetic, strict typing. The single biggest mistake developers make is they treat TypeScript's rules like suggestions. The any type is the worst offender. Using any is like yanking the battery out of a smoke detector just because it beeps sometimes. Sure, it silences the compiler, but it completely defeats the purpose of TypeScript in the first place. And it just plants a ticking time bomb in your code that will detonate at the worst possible moment. The fix is a 1-2 punch. First, open up your tsconfig.json and add this line, strict true. This simple one-liner turns on a whole suite of checks that acts as your first line of defense, forcing you to handle null and undefined values head on. Second, you need to wage war on the any type and learn to love the unknown type. Where any will let you do literally anything, unknown forces you to be safe. For example, with the any type, this function here won't throw an error, but it will crash at runtime if you pass it a number. Unknown is kind of like its responsible older sibling, where it forces you to figure out what the data type is before you can work with it. So you could rewrite this with unknown and it would look like this. And here we're just doing a simple check that the value is actually a string before we try to run this to uppercase. In this case, this will not crash, it'll just console log. It's safety by default. Making this one shift from any to unknown will have the biggest impact on maintainability of your code. Next up, let's talk about structure. A world-class type system can't save your codebase if it is impossible to navigate. If your project is a single folder with an enormous amount of inconsistently named files, you're just digging a deeper hole on every commit. The solution is to start thinking like an architect. Break your code down into smaller, focused modules. There's a reason ES modules are now the standard. They keep your code decoupled and easier to think about. And you have to adopt a logical directory structure. Stop dumping everything into source. Instead of a mess, group your files by responsibility. A classic, effective starting point looks like this. This makes it instantly obvious where things live and how they are supposed to connect. And for the love of all that is holy, be consistent with your naming conventions. Define clear interfaces for your objects and use them throughout your project. This makes your code practically self-documenting. If your Boolean values don't start with things like is, has, or should, you're just creating confusion for no reason. And the final pillar, automation. You are a developer, not a human linter. Wasting brain power arguing over tabs versus spaces, or single quotes versus double quotes in every pull request is just a flat-out tragedy. Your time is far too valuable, so let the robots handle that. This is where tooling becomes your best friend. Get ESLint set up with the recommended TypeScript plugins. It'll catch common errors, enforce best practices, and flag anti-patterns, like using any, before your code ever gets merged. Next, install Prettier. A simple Prettier RC file that looks like this can end all style debates forever. Together, ESLint and Prettier form an automated quality control gate. They ensure your code isn't just correct, but that it's also clean and readable. So there you have it, the 3 pillars that will rescue your TypeScript project. Enforce strict typing. Flip on strict mode and swap any for unknown. Organize intelligently. Use modules, logical folders, and consistent naming. Automate everything. Let ESLint and Prettier sweat the small stuff. Stop fighting the compiler and start letting it do its job. These practices will turn your TypeScript nightmare back into the dream that it was always supposed to be. A scalable, robust, maintainable codebase that you and your team can be proud to work on. If this video helped you out, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe for more no-nonsense web dev content. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest TypeScript nightmare you've ever had to untangle? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.